I got a story for you. Okay, the message that you need to hear is you're gonna die. Now listen to this whole thing, okay? If you're compelled to watch this video, there's a reason. When I was 28 years old, I haven't shared this story publicly. When I was 28 years old, it was about midnight. I walked into my room where my dad was. At the time, very sick. We'd been spending a lot of time with him on a very rapid decline. We thought things were gonna turn around for the better, and it happened to be the opposite. Tough few weeks leading up to this moment. I walked in the room. Really, I believe it was the Holy Spirit. And I was there for the last moments of my dad breathing. It's a little graphic, but he bled out. And it took me years to heal from this thing, from this memory. Earlier today, I was frustrated. Frankly, I was struggling. I was struggling in my mind. Because God has given me words to say, almost too many. And I was trying to be so strategic with what I needed to communicate. The only thing that I could come up with was, is the life you're living successful to you? Not to everybody else. You're gonna die. And when a man confronts death, I've seen things. I've had to make the choice to accept things that people in their 70s and 80s have never had to do. I'm 35. As a young man, you realize you have choices in life. As a man who goes through experiences like facing death and having to accept it and heal from it, you realize there's not many choices in life. God has given you the opportunity for a legacy, to leave something behind. And the choices are you going to answer the call? Are you going to do something or not? Are you going to keep wasting time? There's way too many excuses. People have way too many excuses in their life. Fear of man, other people's opinions, acceptance of other people that you've grown up with or been surrounded by, your coworkers, a reputation, a resume on LinkedIn, money, family, a mortgage, you name the excuse. But if you're watching this video, there's a reason. I believe the Holy Spirit is compelling you to something. And it's not just motivation. It's not just, I need to think about changing something. It's the time is now. And what am I doing? What am I doing with the life that I have? Is the life that I have lived out of other people's idea of success or significance? Is the life I have the legacy that I want to leave? How am I going to be remembered? Is this what I want my children to see? I think about these things. I've got 2 babies. And it has never been more apparent to me the need to respond to God's calling. For me, that might look different than what it looks like for you. I answer that call every day, whether I'm in a conversation with somebody at the coffee shop, whether it's a person who's living on the street, a phone call with a client, or in my family, wrestling, imperfectly. I am consciously thinking, Lord, what are you saying? What do I need to be doing? How can I become a better person? And that wrestle often leads to frustration. Because in my flesh, I have other things that I want. Other things that I know God desires for me, but it's not the right time. Right now, the time is for me to communicate a message to you. And in 10 minutes, Lord willing, I'm here. In 10 minutes, it will be the time for something new. But too many times, we're getting so caught up in our head thinking about all these other things in life. The future, what could be, what if, and the worry. But if you're watching this right now, you got to understand something. You don't know how long you have. And when you confront death and the reality that you're going to die, I'm going to die. From dust we came, to dust we'll go. You have to choose what you do with what you've got right now. And I can tell you, some of you guys are living in this place, I call it inner conflict. I've been there. It's like I love my job, I love my family. I can't have these two things. Well, for one, yes you can, it's just a matter of priorities. But two, what season are you in and why are you wavering? Are you even asking God? I've got a great job, I'm making a bunch of money, but I know I'm not the person I can be. I'm holding myself back. Are you holding yourself back? Or are you just not making the choice you need to make to get yourself accountable to the change? At the end of the day, we got to look at ourselves. I'm looking at a camera right now. We got to look at ourselves in the mirror. We got to say, am I going to make the choice to change? And you know what's funny is I'm in so many chats here online, and I get to the point where people are like, I know I need to make a change. What I'm doing is not fulfilling. And it's not always what you're doing. And they're like, I need to do something. But then you know what happens is they pause. They get afraid. And even before they get onto a call, they're like, I can't show up. I'll get back to you later. And you know why that is? It's because they're afraid to make a change. They're afraid to make a change. They're afraid that the uncertainty of something new, the lack of familiarity, is going to be worse than the comfort and familiarity of what's unhealthy and what they know needs to change. They're choosing comfort over growth. And when they're challenged to show up for themselves, they back down. I give excellence in what I do. If somebody showed up as a client with me, and they tried to get a hold of me for 5 days, couldn't get a hold of me, tried to chat me, showed up to the call on time, I'm 20 minutes late, didn't say something. Can you imagine how they'd feel? Like, wow, this isn't what I signed up for. Well, put yourself in my shoes as somebody who is giving excellence, showing up on time, who is responsive, prompting, asking the right questions, challenging, with somebody who doesn't want to show up for themselves. I don't have time for that. Frankly, you shouldn't either. Too many of you guys aren't showing up for yourself. Period. You're not showing up for yourself. You're not holding yourself accountable to change. You want to make excuses. You want to say all the reasons why things can't be different, why life can't end up working the way that you know it ought to. You have untapped potential. You want to go from one thing to the next, jump into something new after a week of trying something and saying this isn't going to work. You need to rethink your priorities. You need to recognize that anything worth doing is going to require some consistency. You need to show up for yourself. You need to answer God's calling. You need to recognize that you were not born by mistake. You have a purpose and a plan. And there's a legacy that you get the choice to leave. How are you going to be remembered? You're going to die, you and me. What are you going to do to choose to change? It's a question you need to confront for yourself. I believe you're going to make the choice to change. The question is, are you going to keep wasting time, or are you going to do it now?